The late and legendary Jean-Luc Godard once said, "Every film is the result of the society that produced it." Kirti Kulhari once said, "Cinema is a reflection of society and in most cases has the ability to be a mirror and not just show the problems, but also give solutions and help them reach a large number of people through faces and voices that matter." Those are two of the most truthful statements I've ever read about the messaging films can provide us with. Cinema lets us see new people, things, objects, ideas, and cultures we have never seen before. Unfortunately, we live in such a divided time that we must be segmented into factions that most of us don't even want to be a part of because no one can seemingly take a joke. There are, of course, echo chambers for these factions, and the ones I call out the most on this channel are these idiots who are such casual fans of cinema they couldn't even tell you what mise-en-scène is or what it means. So if you're part of their ilk, then you probably won't like this review because it involves satire, and as seen by people's reaction to other satire films like The Hunt, they won't get the joke. So I'm sorry if I just eliminated half of my viewership for this review, but sometimes we need to reset ourselves by taking the piss out of everyone, which is what today's movie does. If you are open-minded though, please stick around and maybe I can introduce you to a funny movie that makes fun of both sides. Oh, and by the way, welcome to a new series I'm starting called Truly Underrated Gems, where I will highlight films I believe are true gems that don't get much discussion on this platform. The Last Supper premiered at TIFF in 1995 and was released widely on April 5th, 1996. The title is funny from the jump because all 5 of the main characters in this movie do not approve of that point of view at all. The movie is about 5 roommates who are grad students in Iowa who are very liberal with their ideals. They have dinner nights that are communal and love a good debate with right-wing people. One night, one of the students' car breaks down and he is given a lift home by a seemingly good Samaritan named Zach, who is played by Bill Paxton. The students invite him in for the communal dinner, and the conversation between all of them quickly turns political. Zach quickly reveals himself to be a racist when he says that, quote, Hitler had the right idea, and then belittles these liberal children for just complaining while the real working men do all the work. The students get very defensive and soon, due to Zach being a psychopath, which is revealed later in the film, kill him because of his radical beliefs. Before the violent ending of the night happens, Zach mentions his time as a veteran who served in the First Iraq War. One of the students snarks to him, "Was that really a war? I thought it was a Republican commercial." So clearly we can tell from this first dinner that this movie is going to attack both sides. But since the conservative is the one who is killed, closed-minded people might think that this is an attack on the right, but we'll come back to that later. After they initially freak out and ponder what they're going to do about this dead person, they all decide to rationalize what they are doing by asking each other, if you went back to 1909 and met a young Adolf Hitler who hadn't done anything yet, would you kill him? Couple this with them talking about how conservatives do all the actions, whereas liberals only do things such as complain and buy mascara that is animal friendly. So their killing these people will make the world a better place, in their opinion. This is all the rationale they need to begin inviting people to their dinner parties that have beliefs that clash with theirs. And then they will poison them because they're doing what they think is right. This movie is 30 years old, and yet it is still on the nose with all of its topics and hypocrisies. The only difference is the fashion and small lifestyles. We haven't come far at all, have we? The students, one of which is played by a 23-year-old Cameron Diaz, begin inviting some of the most reprehensible-minded people you can imagine. Their rule is that if they can't change the person's belief by dessert time, they will poison them with wine that is in a blue bottle. The guest list includes a reverend who hates gays, a misogynist, a rape defender, someone who is anti-environment, a Nation of Islam fundamentalist, a pro-lifer, and a few others. It gets to the point where they begin arguing how many people they've killed. They are so far gone and have become such hypocrites themselves that they can't even agree on how many people they've killed. One of the students puts a mark on his arm cast every time they kill someone. This is as sardonic as you can get, and man do I love it. You might ask, where are they putting all the dead bodies? I'm glad you ask. They are burying them in the backyard area, then growing a tomato garden around them that is maintained by the Cameron Diaz character. There's a running gag about how much tomato paste they have put into jars in their cupboards because they're making such a big garden. It is hilarious. One of the funniest lines in the movie is when they mention how they killed a neo-Nazi before dinner was even served. One of the characters says, "I told him it was happy hour, why waste the food?" I hope you can appreciate how funny all this is for the 3 of you who are still watching this video. Everything surrounding the students and their interactions with these people is the best part, but unfortunately, there is a subplot that I think doesn't work at all. It involves a sheriff who is looking for a missing girl who she thinks was either abducted or killed by the student's first victim, the Bill Paxton character. There is no resolution to this subplot, and it seems to only be there to have a small point of showing you how far one of the students will go later in the movie. This subplot does not work for me at all. I also don't like the very last scene of the movie very much because I can see it coming from a mile away. There is a Rush Limbaugh style figure in this movie who is played by Ron Perlman, who is their white whale, and later in the film, they finally get an opportunity to have him over for their dinner. I won't spoil what transpires, but let's just say the character Perlman plays makes the most sense out of everyone in this movie. He is able to deliver the thesis of this film that no one here is right. This story is about the First Amendment and how hypocritical it is that all voices should be silenced, or in the case of modern speak, canceled, because they don't believe exactly what you don't believe. The liberal college students in this movie are just as intolerant as the people they are killing, which makes them just as much, if not more, hypocrites than the others because they think they're taking the high road even though they clearly are not. I strongly dislike idiots like this guy. I dislike his political takes, his misogyny, and his passive racism. But I don't attack him because of those Neanderthal beliefs. I attack him because he is a terrible reviewer and doesn't understand the first thing about being a cinema lover. He is not a film critic or a game critic. He's a would-be pundit, but I would never want to silence him, cancel him, or kill him. A jigsaw trap? Maybe, but I digress. The point is that there are many people in this world that I disagree with, but for as loud and as annoying as many of those people can be, and believe me, I will continue to call them out on my channel, I don't want them to be canceled. They have their audiences, so whatever. Funny thing for me is that I pay attention to people like them because I need to remind myself on occasion what not to do when I review movies. I really like The Last Supper, which was directed by the late Stacy Title, who is a cousin of the actor Jason Alexander, who is also in this movie as one of the victims. This movie is a little long and has a subplot that goes nowhere, but as I have said before, I will always value flawed films with a strong core at the center over any film that is made in a boardroom. You need to be open-minded if you watch this because it is a relentless satire that is aiming to piss off everyone. But if you can check your political stances at the door, then I recommend that you see this. It is one of the funniest movies of the mid-90s and a great reminder that sometimes all we need to do is just ignore all the loud noises on both the far right and the far left, come together as centrists, and find a way to live in harmony with each other. I am an optimist, and while I hate everything that is happening in the world right now, I believe we can come back from the brink if we just listen to each other. Is that something any of us can still do? I like to hope we can. I give The Last Supper 3.5 stars out of 4. It's a flawed movie, but the core and message of it are so strong and the story itself is so goddamn funny that I'm willing to overlook its shortcomings. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I love being able to talk about films that I feel have gotten next to no love on this platform, and I hope to do many more as time goes on because there are so many movies that I have seen that are out there that are classics but just haven't been discovered by the right group of people yet. But anyway, I also review new movies, horror movies, silent movies, and much more. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like. And until next time, I am Ghost.